Hello everyone, today is 6th of March, now it's about 9 o'clock in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for the day in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. Later on today I will publish second news update on my Patreon and their Boosty pages, and if you are looking for more news from Russia, more commentary, if you like my work and my channels and want to support her, please consider to join our communities on Patreon or Boosty. Links are on this video description box and in the pinned commenter. I have not just news updates on Patreon, by the way, but some other extra content also, and I will make sure that this extra content will increase in volume as much as I can. That's being said, let's go through some news now. And first of all, this report from Vzglyad newspaper that Russian Defense Ministry confirmed the progress of the Russian armed forces in Privorny direction in the DPR, and the Defense Ministry confirmed the liberation of this settlement. Yesterday I reported about liberation of 4 settlements by Russian forces according to different sources, and the Defense Ministry confirmed liberation of 1. I guess today or tomorrow Defense Ministry will confirm liberation of another settlements. Also, you know how Defense Ministry of Russia operates. It's quite conservative institution, and quite often it takes days before ministry acknowledges progress of the Russian armed forces on this or that direction. Also, interesting report from RIA Novosti based on head of pro-Russian underground in Nikolaev region, Sergei Lebedev. According to him, Russian armed forces conducted successful long-range strikes in Odessa, Sumy, Dnipropetrovsk regions, and to be more specific, in Odessa regions, areas were targeted, which is quite often used by foreign mercenaries or foreign or NATO instructors and the Kiev regime's troops that are training in amphibious operations and operations with maritime drones or the aerial drones. Lebedev did not provide detailed information about casualties among enemy forces as a result of these long-range strikes, but I guess there was significant damage done to enemy. And also, by the way, this information was reported in afternoon yesterday, but late evening another wave of long-range strikes was conducted by Russian forces in number of directions on Kiev controlled territory, including Odessa direction, and this is explainable, this significant increase in long-range strikes in Odessa direction, because in Odessa region direction, because according to some military experts, Kiev regime with active assistance of UK and France's militaries and intelligence services are preparing whatever troops Kiev regime has on the southern sectors for amphibious operations in direction of Crimea. So therefore, if this information from a number of military experts is correct, then that explains quite well why Russia has increased significantly these long-range strikes in this direction. Hopefully, heavy damage was done to our enemies as a result of these strikes, and I'm quite sure this is exactly the case. And also one should keep in mind that Odessa region is used by Western-backed terrorist regime of Zelensky, also by British military and their intelligence services, and also French militaries as a logistical hub also, because weapons from European NATO member states and quite often US also are transported through Danube River up to Romania, and then from Romania to Kiev-controlled territory. And so these long-range strikes on military and logistics infrastructure of the Kiev regime is definitely important, and brings some serious problems for logistics of the Russian enemies. Meanwhile, progress of the Russian armed forces continues all along the front line, even though in some areas, by the way, Kiev regime troops are sent in suicidal missions to conduct some counteroffensives in the Pokrovsk area, in Toretsk area. But obviously this would not change much, understandably, So, and well, Kiev regime's forces are conducting on regular basis, by the way, this local scale counterattacks in Kursk salient area also. And during one of their such attacks, armored group of Kiev regime was neutralized, exterminated, and some 10 terrorists of the Kiev regime made decision to lay down arms and surrender. Okay, I guess thorough investigation will be conducted in regards to these personalities, and if any of them were involved in crimes against civilians in the Kursk borderline area, in war crimes, they will spend the rest of their lives in a prison. But if they were not involved in war crimes, probably they will spend some time in Russian prison and then will be either exchanged or they're released. RIA Novosti, after this conflict will end, obviously. RIA Novosti, meanwhile, is reporting that head of State Department of US made a statement that might surprise some people in the collective West, but not us for sure, not our community. He acknowledged that US is involved in a proxy war against Russia. So US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has admitted that the conflict in Ukraine is a proxy war between the two nuclear powers, the United States and Russia. President Trump sees this as a protracted, deadlocked conflict, and frankly, this is a proxy war between the nuclear powers, United States, which is helping Ukraine, and Russia, he said in an interview with the Fox News. Rubio stressed that the stalemated conflict in Ukraine must be ended. Well, they can use this word stalemate as much as they want, but Russian armed forces moving forward, demilitarizing and denazifying Kiev regime's forces quite effectively, and Western so-called elites can call this situation stalemate as much as they like, but in reality, it's a matter of, I don't know, 5-6 months, and if conflict continues on the current rate, Kiev regime's forces eventually will collapse. There is no way around it, right? And because Western so-called elites, especially in US, are realizing that they lost this proxy war, they want to save face, by the way. Don't be mistaken. Trump and his administration, or the forces that are behind them, are talking about the escalation, not out of their good-hearted, not because they are good-hearted people. No, man, they know they lost this proxy war, right? They can no longer sustain this proxy war, because longer this conflict continues, weaker and weaker US as a main enforcer of the Western ruling class is becoming, right? And there are so many areas in this world where Western ruling class is using US as its enforcer, especially in the global south, right? Where situation is not that easy for Washington. And that's the reason, that's a primary reason why Washington is talking about the escalation right now. Not because one day they wake up and they said that, this is wrong. I mean, hundreds of thousands of people are dying and we should end this. These hundreds of thousands of people died because of US, by the way. One should always keep in mind that coup d'etat in 2014 was in Kiev was orchestrated by US, and their main supporter of the terrorist and Nazi regime of Zelensky was and still is US. So if Trump or Rubio or anybody else in US leadership wants to blame anybody for so much casualties, they should blame themselves and their predecessors. It was a Trump, dear friends, I remind you, that started pouring in weapons into Ukraine during his first term in office, right? Am I exaggerating anything here? No. But yes, it is a proxy war, and I'm still not sure Washington and their forces that are behind current administration are serious about pulling out US from this confrontation. But well, if they are serious, then who knows? Maybe before end of 2025 we will see some peace agreement, really, that will address root causes of this conflict, and we will manage to reach some sustainable peace. Let's hope so, but I would not be too optimistic at this point, even though reports are coming in that Washington continues to take some steps to pull out US from this proxy war, at least for now. For example, TASS news agency is reporting that Pentagon confirmed suspension of all US aid to terrorist regime of Zelensky. Representative of the US Department of Defense, when asked by TASS news agency to clarify whether US provides intelligence to Kiev, replied that the Pentagon has received an order to suspend all assistance to Ukraine as its intelligence, its weapons deliveries. Reports are that some planes were in air to deliver some weapons for Kiev regime into the European part of Eurasia first, then to be transferred to Kiev controlled territory, and those planes were turned around in the air. Maybe this is true, maybe not, no way to confirm, isn't it? But yet again, more and more reports are that yes, US suspended weapon deliveries to Kiev regime and also sharing of their intelligence. For example, Sky News yesterday reported that US is stopping sharing intelligence with the Kiev regime, and then CIA director confirmed this information, and according to reports, US also banned UK from sharing US intel with the Kiev regime. I mean, this is a big deal, by the way, and once again demonstrates level of involvement of US in this proxy war against Russia. And you can imagine how many Russian citizens died as a result of this involvement of the United States. And for example, we all know that all long-range strikes deep into Russian territory with drones, with missiles, were conducted based on US satellite intelligence, right? US was providing flight path targeting data to Ukrainian terrorists. Also, HIMARS multi-launch rocket systems are using satellite navigation of the US to launch its missiles, and reports are that United States turned off Ukraine's target decision system for HIMARS MLRS. This MLRS is used to launch long-range ATACMS missiles also. I remind you. So it's a big deal for now. It's a big deal. I'm not ignoring these steps that Washington is taking, but same time, I'm acknowledging that so-called elites in US are doing this not out of good heart, but because they can no longer sustain this proxy war. That's all it is. And they will come when Russia will revenge for all killed citizens of Russia, and US will pay a heavy price. No one gonna forgive or forget US or any other terrorist state that is involved in this proxy war against Russia, ever, right? Also, we have this report from Marty that US is reconsidering funding of Ukraine, according to White House. So Washington has paused US aid to Ukraine while reviewing whether or not to continue. White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt has said. And once again, dear friends, our question is does US or Western or US elites are conducting these steps because they want to force Kiev regime to sign up for some papers that will in the future give some advantages to US, maybe even to get involved in this proxy war even further, even deeper, by sending its troops, or US leadership is genuine and they want to the escalation. I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion. I definitely don't trust no Trump, no anybody from his team. That's for sure. I would never ever trust any politician from the collective West ever in my life. As long as I am alive, I will never trust anybody from so-called elites in the West, right? And I guess somewhat similar take is dominant in the Russian ruling class also, because they cannot be trusted. Because they cannot be trusted. As simple as that. But we will find out. We will find out soon how serious Western ruling class is. And in any case, by the way, in any case, whether even if US will get involved or even deeper in this proxy war, we know that we can smash the faces of our enemies always. We cannot lose. We will destroy our enemies anyways, right? It is what it is. RIA Novosti is reporting that, due to suspension of their weapon deliveries to Kiev regime, Ukrainian Nazis and the fascists may run out of Patriot missiles. Okay, who does give a damn about it? That would be greater. That would be greater, of course. But yet again, what Patriot missile systems batteries are doing in Kiev-controlled territory? Why these systems are there in the first place? Right? This information about these missiles was reported by CNN, and I don't know, dear friends, if you can trust CNN or not. I guess during the Biden's administration, so much weapons were poured into Kiev-controlled territory for these Ukrainian Nazis and the fascists and the terrorists that they will have enough weapons for maybe entire year or something. Anyways, nothing gonna help Ukrainian Nazis, by the way. Nothing. We will take them out anyways. Anyways, man. Denazification is coming. And demilitarization is not stopping even for a second. Meanwhile, Berlin is stating that they run out of weapons for Kiev, according to local defense minister. Yet another clown that makes some insane statements that cannot be trusted. I'm saying so because this is a second or third time that media is reporting about statements of high-ranking officials in Germany that they ran out of weapons for the regime, but somehow Germany is still delivering weapons, right? So therefore, I'm reporting about this statement of Defense Ministry of Germany, but we should take this information as any other, by the way, with a pinch of salt. Germany has reached the limit of its capacity to supply weapons to Ukraine from its own Bundeswehr arsenals, according to Michel Stempfli, the official spokesperson of the German Ministry of Defense. During a press, it's not even minister, it's a ministry. Okay, press spokesman of the ministry said this. During the press briefing on Wednesday, Stempfli was asked about the further transfers of Patriot systems and other weapons from German arsenals to Ukraine. He stated that while Berlin has already delivered many systems to Ukraine, there is a natural limit to this. He emphasized that Berlin also needed to strengthen the nation's own defense capabilities and make sure its European allies are well positioned. He said that the process of ensuring Germany's own defense was running parallel to the Ukraine support. Anyways, no trust to anybody from Western so-called elites, from Western regimes, ever. That's it. Meanwhile, reports are coming in that Trump wants some bigger Ukraine resources deal. Okay. US President Donald Trump is seeking an improved mineral deals between Washington and Kiev. CBS News reported on Tuesday, citing a person familiar with the talks. Their allegations came 3 days after a brief failing out over their issue between Trump and Ukraine's leader Vladimir Zelensky. Trump wants I don't know what he wants, man. Zelensky is nobody. He's not legit, right? in the West now new narrative was pushed that this state Rada in Ukraine, so-called parliament, voted to acknowledge legitimacy of Zelensky, and therefore Zelensky is legit. This is not how it works, man. Ukraine's constitution said it directly and clearly that during the martial law, presidential institutions' mandate is not prolonged. Not prolonged, that's it. End of story. Parliament's mandate, Rada's mandate, is prolonged. And therefore, during the martial law, if president's mandate is over, then head of parliament is becoming leader of the country. That's what Constitution of Ukraine says, and these MPs, so-called MPs in Kiev, have no legitimacy, have no right to prolong a mandate of the Zelensky. This is not works that way, man, right? So therefore, what Trump is playing here, what deal? No matter what Zelensky will sign, that paper will be nothing, right? So there is two ways, by the way, as I understand. Either Trump is using this topic of mineral deals to distance US, to pull off US from this proxy war against Russia that it can no longer sustain, or he will he will pressure Zelensky to gift US entire Ukraine or something. I don't know, man. I don't know what the heck is going on here, but this is all nonsense, It's too stupid, really. All this stuff is just nonsensical, man. Who cares what Zelensky will sign, man? Are you kidding me? Meanwhile, Trump's entourage, according to media reporter, held secret talks with the Zelensky's opponents. People from the entourage of the US President Donald Trump held secret talks in Kiev with a number of leading political opponents of Vladimir Zelensky, in particular with former Prime Minister of Ukraine, Yulia Tymoshenko, and the key figures of the European Solidarity Party of the former President Petro Poroshenko, according to Politico, by the way. And, I can understand this news. I said many times before that US has an issue on its hands with Zelensky, who clearly looking for a new master, and he find one in London, it seems like. And I don't think US can live with that. I don't think US can just leave it as it is, because as far as I understand, when an asset goes rogue, that asset is neutralized. Right, and US will neutralize Zelensky one way or another. And if Politico's report is correct, and there are some talks already between representatives of Trump and some political figures in Ukraine, this news itself indicates that preparations clearly are underway to replace Zelensky one way or another, either through coup d'etat and then elections, or Washington might press Zelensky to conduct elections now and just get out of office. In any case, Zelensky is finished, by the way. And at this point, if you ask me some, I don't know, 5-6 months ago, I would say Zelensky probably will manage to survive. He will leave for Israel and will live there before end of his freaking life. But now I'm not quite sure that he will be left alive. His reliability, first of all, for US, and they will take him out. They will take him out for sure. CIA has long story of assassinating people worldwide, including current and former politicians or high-ranking officials, and they will take care of Zelensky for sure. He is a dead man walking. That's what it is. Meanwhile, reports are also coming in that Macron, Stammer, and Zelensky will travel to US shortly. At least this was stated by Elise Pelez or the French government. Let's say so. French President Emmanuel Macron, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, and Vladimir Zelensky plan to travel to Washington to participate in their talks, the purpose of which has not yet been revealed. The Ellis Polasser reported, I guess Starmer and Macron will finalize whatever plan they have to further prolong this proxy war against Russia, and they will go to US to, influence the Washington to make sure that US stays in this proxy war. They might succeed, they might not. I don't know. Yet again, by the way, I have no trust in any administration in the West. They cannot be trusted ever. So therefore, maybe tomorrow Trump will say, you know what, F it, we are going in 100%. He might say that, and whatever reserves they have, whatever munition they have left, whatever missiles they have left, whatever armored vehicles they have left, they might send it all to further prolong this proxy war. It might happen, but it might happen. So therefore, here in Russia, no one should be too optimistic, especially government figures. And I guess they know perfectly well with whom they are dealing, either in Washington or in London or in Paris or in Berlin or in Warsaw or any other capital in the collective West, right? Also, Zelensky once again humiliated Trump. Meanwhile, by the way, because as you know, during his Trump's address to Congress day before yesterday, he said that he received some important letter from Zelensky, in which he was talking about peace and blah blah blah, and you know what? Press secretary of Zelensky denied that any letter was sent to Trump. So press secretary of Vladimir Zelensky, Sergei Nikiforov, denied information about sending letters by the head of the Kyiv regime to the US president. Ukrainian edition reported, Ukrainian so-called media outlet, Liganet reported originally, and then some other so-called media there. And obviously this information then spread around. According to Nikiforov, Zelensky allegedly did not send letters to US president, and Trump probably had in mind, while he was talking some later from Zelensky, probably he had in mind post of Zelensky in a social network. Ukraine's ambassador into United States, Oksana Markova, also stated that it was about Zelensky's publication on the social network X. So yes, that's what it is, man. I don't know who is briefing Trump, why he thought that some letter was sent by Zelensky. But anyways, by the way, Kyiv regime should keep their mouth shut, right? And not humiliate Trump any further. But they could not help themselves, by the way. And they once again humiliated Trump. They are basically saying that Trump is a liar, right? That they did not send no letters and stuff. And well, it is what it is, man. One more reason for Washington to get rid of Zelensky. All right. Although there is also a possibility, by the way, that to avoid further escalation between this terrorist regime in Kiev and Washington, Zelensky actually might write later. Maybe he already did yesterday, or he might do it today, and the date on that letter may be for like 3 days ago or 4 days ago, like for 2nd or 3rd March, right? And this way they can somehow save the face of the Trump. But they already humiliated him, by the way. Zelensky's press secretary said that there was no letters. So I don't know, man. This clown show has to end, man. It's just too much, really. This bloody clown show, man, has to end. The RIA Novosti is reporting that Zelensky's office announced an early meeting of the US and Ukrainian teams. The head of Zelensky's office, Andrei Yermak, said there in a Telegram channel after the scandal in the White House that he had agreed with US presidential advisor Michael Waltz to meet the teams in the near future. So some groups of Washington and Kyiv regime will meet somewhere and discuss something, or I don't know. If why Washington is downgrading itself, why Trump's administration is insulting US while talking too much to these non-entities like Zelensky and Yermak and the rest of their garbage that actually is asset or used to be asset of US Secret Services. Now they probably changed the master and they are assets of their London, but still, why Trump's administration is insulting US while talking to these nobodies, man? I don't know. RIA Novosti is reporting that French Chihuahua, meanwhile, Macron, Macron opened discussion on France's use of nuclear weapons to protect their EU. Yesterday, he had an address to nation or something. I did not really pay much attention. I just read a few news about it because who the hell is Macron, man? I mean, who cares what this Chihuahua has to say? But there is one point, and one point only, why some may pay some attention, because France has nuclear weapons. That's the only reason why French leadership's statements might have, or the actions might have some relevance. Although, by the way, let's be clear, Russia can take out her entire French army, including nuclear arsenals, in about 30 minutes to 1 hour. So that we know what we are talking about. I mean, France has several nuclear submarines. France has a number of nukes on in Air Force, right? But I'm quite sure Russian intelligence has precise information where exactly those nukes are, where exactly those submarines are, and if any of the French nuclear submarines are operational, which I'm not sure about, then I'm quite sure at least one Russian nuclear hunter submarine is tracking that French submarine, and it's only a matter of order, and there are no more French nuclear submarine, by the way. That's it, right? And that submarine will never even knew what hit it. But anyways, so-called president of France, Emmanuel Macron, stated yesterday in an address to the French people that he decided to start a discussion on the use of France's nuclear weapons to protect their entire EU. Broadcasts, and this broadcast was translated on a website of Ellis Palazzo, okay? And then quote here, I have decided to start a strategic debate on protecting our allies on the European continent with our nuclear weapons, but whatever happens, the solution or decision-making process is will always remain with the president of the republic. Okay, we just don't care, man. We can obliterate French armed forces, French nuclear arsenal in about 30 to 60 minutes. Same goes for UK, by the way. We can obliterate in 1 hour armies of UK and France and their nuclear arsenals. Only Russia and US are on a level when it comes to nukes. When there is if direct war happens and there are nuclear exchange, that's bilateral destruction, annihilation, right? Mutual destruction, by the way. And nothing can save any of the countries or the rest of the world, for that matter. If Russia and US will go toe-to-toe and in a full-scale war and start exchanging with nukes. But when it comes to France and UK, they only have like a few hundred nukes each. And I'm quite sure Russia knows exactly, I mean, perfectly well where exactly those nukes are. On where those submarines are located, where those planes are located that are nuclear capable, and where warehouses are where these nuclear devices are kept, right? So it's a matter of power, and there is no more nuclear France and nuclear UK. And I think after yesterday's statements of Macron, when he's cyberlattering with the nukes, some people in Washington probably did also think about how safe it is to allow France and UK to keep nuclear weapons. I think it is time these Chihuahua states to get rid of nukes. They cannot be trusted with these weapon systems, right? And US should work in this direction for sure before it's not too late, because these psychopaths may actually force Russia to take some action. And as I said, by the way, it's a matter of 1 hour and there will be no more nuclear France and nuclear UK. That's all it is, man. We don't give a damn about these countries, man. I mean, literally, we just don't care, man. We know we can obliterate them in instant, right? They are not, we don't consider them as a serious opponent, and will never do, because they are not, right? Europe is finished forever and for good, by the way, because take a look at the last 300 to 500 years, man. All the tragedies, and Lavrov was correct when he said just like 2 days ago that if you take a look at the last 300 to 500 years, man, practically all the tragedies of this world were connected with their sick policies of their elites in this so-called Europe. And it is true, man. It is true. Meanwhile, by the way, another Chihuahua Ireland is stating that they might send their special forces to Ukraine, according to Irish Times. Okay, man, send into your army, man. Just do it. You know, why just special forces? Send into your army, and we will see how many days they will manage to survive on the battlefield there. You know, just do it. So Ireland will be able to send special forces to Ukraine if a new law on simplifying the deployment of military personnel abroad is adopted. Such a measure may be taken allegedly to protect their embassy in Kiev, the Irish Times newspaper reported on Wednesday. Okay, you know, you can come up with whatever excuse to protect embassy, and you have to send special forces to protect embassy in Kiev. Really? You don't have security there already? Ireland? But anyways, I mean, send entire your army. You know, why just special forces? Send them all. I don't know how many troops you have, like 15, 20 or 122, but just send them all, you know. Don't mess around, just do it. We will take care of the rest. RIA Novosti is reporting that, well, Iran will become a separate area of the dialogue with the United States, according to Kremlin. Yet again, this is all these statements, by the way, are preliminary, let's say, statements, because no one can be sure that Washington is serious about the escalation. Yes, US no longer can sustain this proxy war against Russia. And the longer this conflict continues, weaker and weaker US is militarily and politically on the geopolitical landscape, right? This is just factual. But still, the US has enough means to get involved in this proxy war more intensively. They might even send air troops. They might even provoke Third World War. We don't know, by the way. Can you trust US leadership or the forces that are behind Trump's administration? I cannot, right? So therefore, this statement of Kremlin should be taken cautiously, because obviously Kremlin is saying that Iran will become a separate area of the dialogue with the United States if United States is serious about the escalation and getting out of this proxy war against Russia, right? So the topic of Iran will become a separate area of dialogue between Russia and the United States. In the future contacts, President's press secretary Dmitry Peskov stated during the latest briefing, as my colleague, presidential aide Ushakov, we expect separate decisions on this topic. Actually, this is what was proposed to make it a separate area of dialogue. Our consultations in the future, during our consultations in the future, he said, the Kremlin spokesman clarified that during the high-level talks between Russia and the United States in Riyadh, the topic of Iran was not discussed in detail. But yes, in the future, yet again, if Washington is serious about the escalation, yes, there may be some talks between Washington and Moscow in regards to US-Iran relationships, and Moscow can play some positive role in terms of de-escalating relations between Tehran and Washington, between Tehran and the Israeli leadership too, or Israel, right? Between Tel Aviv. I don't recognize Jerusalem as a capital of Israel, by the way. I recognize Tel Aviv as a capital of Israel, right? So between Tehran and Tel Aviv. Anyways, this is, we are talking about future that may never come, because yet again, with the Western so-called elites, you just never know. And tomorrow Trump may come up with statements that he's sending some 20, 30, 100,000 troops into Ukraine. After all, 101st brigade is stationed in Romania, isn't it? Of US armed forces. And then many other troops. And what they are doing there? These are assault troops, right? These are assault troops. Why US is keeping assault troops right next to Russia? Anyways, meanwhile, US Chief of Pentagon Hexet stated that US is ready for war with China. Okay, I don't think so, but you know, in your dreams, maybe you really are ready for a war with the Andromeda Galaxy also. I mean, who knows? US is prepared to go to war with China if necessary. The Pentagon has announced following Beijing's threat of tariff retaliation in what marks another escalation in an ongoing trade war between the world's two largest economies. Defense Secretary Pat Hexet clarified the US position earlier on Wednesday in an interview with Fox News, responding to the Chinese embassy in the US, which said Beijing was ready to fight any type of war. We are prepared, Hexet said, adding, those who long for peace must prepare for a war. He further stated that this was why the US was rebuilding its military and restoring deterrence in the warrior ethos. I mean, come on, man. US can do nothing to China. Let's be clear on that, by the way. All these legends, all these myths, by the way, that US militaries are this and US militaries are that, and they can do anything anywhere, and they are invincible, and number one militaries, no one can stand before US troops. This is all myths, this is all garbage, right? US can do nothing, literally nothing, to China. US cannot defeat China in a war, in a tariff war, in a trade war, in a military war. US cannot defeat China. It's just simple, right? It's factual. So people in US that are pushing for a next major escalation in this world, which is going to be China, US-China confrontation, those people should be neutralized in US, right? Because they are clearly psychopaths and extremely dangerous, not just for US citizens, but for citizens of this world, by the way, right? There is enough place on this planet for everybody to live in peace. And China is not threatening US, right? Last time I checked, never ever China threatened US with invasion, with military actions, or with anything, for God's sake. China is retaliating, right? US is imposing some sanctions, China is imposing some sanctions. US does something, China will respond on that. It's US that escalates always, right? And maybe it is time US so-called elites to finally realize that I mean it's better if they will come down a little bit and focus on internal some issues. You know, no one is coming to occupy you, for God's sake. Just take care of yourself and leave rest of the world alone. No one appoint you as a world's policeman. We don't need you in this world, right? Just stay where you are, keep your mouth shut, and don't bother nobody. Just do it, you know, because everybody is sick and tired of US and Europe and Western ruling class and their fucking sick policies. Everybody is tired, man. That's all it is. And by the way, if US dares to go in war with China, well, I guess that will be the time when US will pay with blood for all the crimes that it committed against Russia. US will pay with blood. Blood for blood, by the way. I am all for that, right? So if US goes with war against Iran or against China or against anybody, I think there are plenty of groups here in Russia. I'm not saying government, by the way. I don't know what government gonna do, but there are plenty of groups here in Russia that will make sure that US will pay heavy price, right? Because revenge is coming. Revenge is coming, by the way. And as we say here, revenge is a cold dish that needs to be served cold. Revenge is a dish, specific dish that needs to be served cold. And it is true. Everything has its time. Meanwhile, when it comes to this US imperialism, by the way, we have this report that US consortium is about to buy Panama Canal ports. Hong Kong-based company has announced their plans to sell a controlling stake in a business operating two major ports on the Panama Channel to a consortium of investors led by an American multinational. And you guessed what this American multinational or whatever is. BlackRock, by the way. Asian logistics giant CK Hutchison Holdings will sell 90% interests in Panama Ports Company to a consortium that includes US investment holding BlackRock, its subsidiary Global Infrastructure Partners, and the Geneva-based container terminals major terminal investment, according to joint statement issued by CK Hutchinson and the BlackRock. So yes, US imperialism is still a thing, and I guess Panama Channel, one way or another, will be controlled by US. And Chinese business, this Hong Kong-based business, is pulling out from there. It is also interesting that the deal also covers the sale of 80% of the stake of CK Hutchison Ports subsidiaries operating 43 ports across 23 countries, including in the UK, Germany, Mexico, Australia, Argentina, and South Korea. So US grip on these countries where these 43 ports are located will further increase, obviously. So, okay, but if you take a look at the map, by the way, I can imagine why China is, or Chinese business is not really too keen to maintain its presence in Panama, because all the trade routes, by the way, all these trade routes are losing its relevance because future is for Northern Sea route, future of trade, world trade, is a northern sea route that Russia is creating, and basically already created, right? And I guess as time goes by, more and more countries, more and more companies will focus on this northern sea route, which is much shorter and much economically much profitable than any other route that currently exists, right? So that's about it, dear friends, for this update. How long is this video? It's still quite long, but anyways, hopefully you will find it informative and interesting. After all, as I said quite a few times before, by the way, there is not that many channels from Russia in this segment of news and political commentary that publishes videos on daily basis. So yes, hopefully you will find this video interesting. You will better understand how we here in Russia see certain developments. And of course, I don't represent anybody except myself, but if I think certain ways, most likely a certain percentage of population here, my fellow citizens, also think that way. It's logical, isn't it? And anyways, this is it for now. Please click that like button, leave some commentary, and share information about my channel or video itself if you can. And if you like my work, if you like my channels, and if you think I deserve to be in this field of news and political commentary, please consider to support this project with the donation through PayPal or Boosty, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. I don't know why am I saying all this stuff, by the way. The donations, anyway, donations just 1 or 2 donations a week, by the way. Maybe even not. And I'm spending time saying this stuff. Just subscribe to my Patreon if you can. That's it, man. Links to my Patreon, and just in case, to all the other means of support are on this video description box and in the pinned comment. Okay, this is it for now. Have a wonderful day and take care.